Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this month's Mayor's Breakfast. I'm your Mayor, Grandis. I really appreciate having everyone here. We've got a standing room crowd once again. What I'd like to do is start off with the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Harper. We ask that if you're able to, please stand.
Thank you, everybody. Please join me in pledging our allegiance to the greatest country in the world. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Harper. What I'm going to do now, we have some important guests I want to introduce. First, Councilmember Patrick Harper. We have Councilmember Jim Canine.
Good morning.
Councilmember, go ahead. Councilmember Kim Constantine. We have Vice Mayor Ted Bowie. We have former Mayor Larry Crandall. Former Mayor Cheryl Brothers. Former Mayor Steve Nagel. We have from the Fountain Valley School District Board of Trustees, Sandra Crandall. And help me out, folks. Am I missing anyone? Then we have lots of directors and such throughout our city. So what we're going to do this morning is we're going to start with the hospital update. So I'd like to ask Andrew Peak, COO, please come on up and give us an update on the hospital. Welcome.
Thank you, Glenn, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to UCI Health Fountain Valley. So I am the newest executive on the team here, hired in November 2023. And the reason why I applied to this position is my wife is the class of 2000 Fountain Valley High graduate. And so when this position popped up, actually this time last year, my wife kind of pulled my arm and said, "You gotta apply to that position." So give me back to Fountain Valley in regards to just the great memories she had at this place. So, since I was hired in November, 3 months later, came the big announcement that UCI Health is going to acquire not only Fountain Valley, but 3 other hospitals in Orange County, LA area. And what has occurred since then, right? So the last time this Mayor's Breakfast occurred was April 18th. And I want to provide just a brief update of what's occurred since then and what that means to the city of Fountain Valley, having UCI Health now operate at, Fountain Valley Hospital. So with that, believe it or not, it's been 100 days since the acquisition, and it's been what a fantastic journey. And with any changing ownership comes really a change in our mission and our values for the organization. So I just want to highlight really what our new mission and vision is now that we're part of UCI Health Fountain Valley. So really our mission is to discover, teach, and heal. And so since the last meeting we have, April 18th, what has occurred here at Fountain Valley in regards to fulfilling our mission to discover, teach, and heal? Well, since then, we've renewed our 3-year accreditation in regards to teaching our pharmacy students and residents. So this is one of the few programs in the county that actually trains pharmacists who are coming out. We've also started teaching some sterile processing technologists in regards to doing all the sterile instrumentation cleaning for all of our procedural areas. We've obtained our OB emergency department accreditation. So we're one of 2 hospitals in all of Orange County that are actually accredited to provide really life-saving, comprehensive care for all of our OB patients who are coming to Fountain Valley and needing labor and delivery support. So that's been a fantastic opportunity for us. In regards to the vision, the vision of UCI Health Fountain Valley is to be the best place to give and get care. So since we last hosted the Mayor's Breakfast, we've been thrilled to be recognized by the American Stroke Association to be honored with the Gold Plus Stroke Award for all the stroke care that we provide. That's the highest award that the American Stroke Association, American Heart Association provides. And so that's been a fantastic recognition here. You know, since the UCI Health thing, usually the summertime is your seasonality where it's a little low. You know, people are out on vacations and postponing things because of the summertime. We've actually been very full, you know, since UCI acquired these hospitals, to where not only our inpatient beds full, but our surgical volume, our cath lab volume, our interventional radiology volume, all of our procedural areas have been significantly up from this time last year. So that's been fantastic to be able to extend access to Fountain Valley and beyond to have patients assess our great services that we provide here to the community. We've also acquired our second Da Vinci surgical robot. So this is the most advanced technology for minimally invasive surgery. So now we have two, and so that's occurred since April 18th. So that's been also a great addition in regards to if you're coming into the ER, or if you have an elective need for minimally invasive surgery, you have the ability to access that, that equipment here. And then from an identity standpoint, the identity of UCI Health is to be the friendliest and most accessible academic health system in the country. And this really, I think, aligns with Fountain Valley in regards to being a nice place to live. It's the same thing in regards to UCI Health Fountain Valley. And I see that every day since I've been here, now 7 months, is we just have great people, nice people, friendly people that are really working together as a team to really create miracles, save lives, fight disease, everything that comes with coming to the hospital. It's never a fun place coming to the hospital, but find comfort that the team here at Fountain Valley is going to do the very best taking care of loved ones, your neighbors, friends in Fountain Valley. So that's what we've been up to the past 100 days and since our last Mayor's Breakfast on April 18th. So thank you again. Thanks for the time, Glenn, to allow us to provide a brief hospital update for UCI Health Fountain Valley. Thank you.
I'd be amiss if I didn't introduce the CEO of the hospital, Randy Rogers, who's in the back.
Good morning.
So I have to say a quick thing about the hospital. I'm really proud. I'm on the board of directors. I think this is my, 4th or 5th year being on the board. And, mentioned it, it's hard to believe it's only been 100 days with UCI Health because we already noticed massive changes just in the attitudes of all the employees and the community. Everybody is so excited about this. UCI Health brings a breath of fresh air to this hospital that was very sorely needed. And we're already seeing in our last meeting some of the stats in terms of customer sat. We've seen improvements across the board. So this is just the beginning of a lot to come. So again, UCI Health, it's still getting used to saying that. It sounds so great. UCI Health Fountain Valley, thank you, and thank you for hosting us today. All right, let's, wow, there are so many people here. Quick show of hands. How many people, is this your first time at a Mayor's Breakfast? Okay, there is quite a few. Normally we go around and introduce everybody, so there's so many this morning, I don't think we're going to be able to do that. But what we'd like to do at this point is if anybody has some community announcement that they want to make, you're welcome to do so. So if anybody, just quick show of hands, I have some community announcements to make myself, but if anybody has something they'd like to talk about, this is an opportunity to do so. All right, we'll give you another chance later in case you think of it. All right, let's jump into the update. Oh, yeah, all right. Okay, hospital update, city highlights, and are you going to film the screen?
I will.
Okay. All right, so first thing that we have is the 410 pilot program. So this is a pilot, what we're trying to do in the city, or what we're going to do, starting is we're going to change from the current format where the city closes every other Friday. We're now going to close every Friday, so it hopefully eliminates some of the confusion on which Fridays we're open. And what we're going to do is we're going to extend the hours of Monday through Thursday. So we had a lot of people who gave feedback that said, well, you know, City Hall hours aren't convenient for me because I work. And so this provides an opportunity if you want to come in at 7 a.m. or we'll stay open till 6 p.m. And we'll try it for 6 months. We'll get feedback in about 3 months from the community, say how it's working, and then we'll decide if we'll continue that or not. One other huge benefit is it's what the employees want as well. So this is a way to do something for our employees without it really costing the city money. And right now, if you know about city employees, not just in Fountain Valley, Orange County, throughout the whole state, it's really hard to hold on to employees these days. So this is another benefit we're going to try. There are a few departments that are already on this schedule, so we're going to try this at City Hall. We'll see how it works. All right, one thing I want to make sure too is that there was questions on emergency services and all that will remain. So it's not like the fire department or police department are going to be closing their doors on Fridays or anything like that. So that's going to remain open. Also, code enforcement and building inspections are going to remain open as well on Fridays. All right. So senior resource and referral program. So we're going to do an outreach, lighthouse outreach over at Founders Village. We want to connect our seniors with resources, so whether it be housing, food and nutrition, caregivers or in-home support, legal aid, employment. So if you're a senior in our community, we're always trying new ways to provide additional services. If you want to schedule an appointment, it's 714-593-4446. So some fun community events coming up. First, concerts in the park. So tonight is the next concert, and it's Tijuana Dogs. And if you have not seen Tijuana Dogs, you're in for a treat. They draw a huge crowd. So my recommendation is get there a little bit early. Our concerts in the park are free. I know there are other cities that charge. In Fountain Valley, we don't charge for the concert. We don't charge for parking. So bring a lawn chair, bring a blanket. It's always a lot of fun. And one thing we're doing this year too, my fellow council members and I, we have a booth set up tonight, and it's ask the council members a question. And if you have any questions, want to provide feedback, you have concerns, anything going on in the city, we'll have a big booth there. Come visit us. We tried it last week and we were packed, which was great. And Councilmember Harper and I were there last week doing that, and the feedback was tremendous. It was really very beneficial. Next is National Night Out on Tuesday, August the 6th. That's always a fun event, 6 to 8 over at the sports park. We'll have the police and fire out there. There's going to be food, fun, games, raffles, a really fun event. It's something that we do every year. So that's over at the rec center. Come and join us, and again, another free event. And then on Wednesday, August the 7th, one of the major issues we're seeing and feedback I know all of our council members and I are receiving from the community is the increase in the homelessness issues we have in our city. So we have done a lot to try and help with this. We just re-upped the CityNet contract. We opened up the navigation center that was opened up about a month ago. But full transparency, our point in time number went up from about 38 to 114 in a year. So we have an issue. We're going to have all of the stakeholders at this event. So it's going to be, again, over at the rec center at 6:30 on August 7th. We'll have representatives from the supervisor's office, from the county. We'll have the sheriff's department, the police department, the city. We'll have our folks from CityNet. We'll have the folks who run the navigation center. There are new Supreme Court laws that just came out, and we'll be talking about what we can do, what we can't do, because that's important to understand as well. And then this is truly a time to get feedback from the community. So it's going to be interactive. Everybody's going to have a chance to ask our questions. So make sure you put that on your calendar, Wednesday, August the 7th. Well, before I get to that, there's a couple of others that I want to just quickly mention. So our fire chief is on August the 4th over at the Orange County Fairgrounds. He's going to be in the RV demolition derby. So raising money for Chalk Hospital, and we'll make sure we get information out there to the community on how you can go out there and root on our chief, who's going to be up against other fire chiefs and police chiefs in the county. And Chief, you're going to be driving an RV and smashing it, correct?
That's what I'm told.
That's what you're told. All right, excellent. So also the most important part of that is Chief is going to be raising money for Chalk Hospital. So we want to be sure to support that. And then on August the 3rd, the Fountain Valley Firefighters Association is going to have a big pickleball tournament. I played in it last year, and I did get a trophy. I played with former Mayor Michael Vo. We got a participation trophy. We were so bad. And if those of you know the former mayor, he's a really good pickleball player and a great tennis player and like a champion ping pong player. So it probably wasn't his fault when we lost. All right. I'm so excited about this. So coming up, finally on August the 9th, we had a few delays on this because of weather when we were putting this together. The universally accessible playground is going to have its ribbon cutting. The whole community is welcome to attend, and we hope everybody does. It's going to be on August the 9th at 10 a.m. over at our sports park next to the rec center. You always know which side the Fountain Valley side is versus the county at Miles Square Park. If it's free parking, it's the city. If you pay for parking, you're in the wrong place. So I'm super excited about that. And those that don't know about the universally accessible playground, it's an opportunity for everyone to play together. So there are other playgrounds out there for those with special needs, but it's usually they're on one side and the typical kids are on the other side. This is something where everybody is going to be together. I am so excited. With the Fountain Valley Community Foundation took the lead on this, and I remember over a decade ago we were talking about how do we make this happen. So this has been in the works for a long time, and Rob Frizzell and the Parks and Rec Department, thank you guys for all your efforts. We also want to thank our Assemblyman Tree Ta, who helped get a grant for $1 million, our Congresswoman Michelle Steele, who was able to get $500,000 for us, and then the fundraising efforts, especially of Barbara Montz. I don't see her here, or I would call her up for a bow, and the fundraising of the Community Foundation. So come on out for that. All right, coming soon to Fountain Valley. So first, I Can Barbecue, Korean barbecue, and that's where the former Corner Bakery location was. Popeye's Chicken, that's going to be going in next to Grocery Outlet on Brookhurst and Garfield. Black Dot Coffee is going into our Crossings area, which is on Euclid. Ross Dress for Less is in the Ralph's Shopping Center. And I just received an email yesterday that they're going to have a grand opening on Saturday morning. So we'll be out there for that. Dutch Bros' second location over on Warner next to Floor and Decor. I've been driving by the current one every so often, and it seems like things have calmed down a little bit with the traffic. And with the second one opening, it's only going to get better. All right, I talked a little bit about this. This is a major item in our city. So we have opened up our Central Cities Navigation Center on June the 5th. this is something where it's so important for every city. It's basically, I want to say a requirement, but every city has to have beds available for those that are unhoused. It's so important to do because, these are human beings and it's the compassionate and right thing to do. There's also legal reasons why it's important for us to do this as well. The city of Fountain Valley, quite candidly, couldn't really do it on their own. So what we did, and this is a sign of really good government, is we partnered with the cities of Garden Grove and Westminster, and we pooled our resources together to be able to open up a navigation center. You notice I don't say homeless shelter. Homeless shelter is someplace a person can go for the night, couple nights, and then leave. A navigation center is with complete wraparound services. So our goal as a city, and the goal of the navigation center, is when an unhoused person leaves this facility, they're going to permanent housing. They're not going back out on the street. So there's all kinds of services that are included in this. The city of Fountain Valley has invested over $1 million towards this project. But I want to thank especially the cities of Garden Grove. The navigation center is in the city of Garden Grove. So they're the host city for that. And they actually ponied up the most money, as well as the county is helping with this. So this is, the address is 13871 West Street, and again in Garden Grove. So our 2024 water quality report came out, and it's available online. It gives you really important information about the water in the city of Fountain Valley. And if you want to get a copy of the report, you could, I believe it's on our website, or you can contact the water department at the phone number there, 714-592-4600. So those of you I talked that I'm on the board of directors for OC San, and OC San has that great partnership with the water department, not just our water department, but the Orange County Water District, and they reclaim 130 million gallons of water every single day. And 100% of the water for Fountain Valley comes right from below ground, right below us. We have wells within the city, and 100% of our water comes from those wells underneath the aquifer that's below us. The replenishment program is constantly recharging that, so there's plenty of water. We will not run out of water in Fountain Valley, and we have really good water, so that's important to know. All right, next, what we're going to do is I'm going to bring up Mike Ishii. He's a former police chief for Hawthorne. Full disclosure, he's also a candidate to be the interim police chief. Final decisions haven't been finalized on that yet. So I think he's going to give some great input on what it is to be a police chief. For those who don't know, we want to thank our former police chief, Matt Shepard. He retired just a few weeks ago. Our captains, Captain Luce and Captain DeSantis, are the interim police chiefs until we have the official interim, I guess the interim police chiefs. So we thank you guys for stepping up and helping with that. So at this point, I think it'd be easiest if you come on up here, and I'm going to ask you a few questions. So, and we're going to have to, let's see, maybe go on that side. Easier. We'll share it now. We'll just, okay, that works. See, look at this. He's already adding value right now. So first, if you would, introduce yourself to our community and your professional experience.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mayor and council members and everybody coming here today for the Mayor's Breakfast and having me here. My name is Mike Ishii. I was a police officer and later police chief for the city of Hawthorne in Los Angeles County, just north of here. Some would say different country, actually, but up in LA County, and I did my whole career at Hawthorne PD. I started as a reserve officer in 1990, and then I retired as a chief of police in December of 2022, and did my whole career there. Before that, I was a dispatcher in Redondo Beach, and had the opportunity to come here, and hopefully, if everything goes well, I'd love to be the interim police chief, as I like to say, a good substitute teacher as I come over here, and did my whole career there. So the last 4 years, from 18 to 22, I was fortunate to be the chief of police there at Hawthorne. And during those times, as you all know, there was a lot of things that happened, and we were able to really navigate those things based on having a great internal culture, having a great police department that's focused on our employees, and we were able to do that. So, without taking too much of your time, that's really who I am. I'm looking forward to, if presented the opportunity, to work with all of you within our community. Thanks.
All right, and tell us a little bit, why did you decide to become a police officer and eventually the chief of police?
So I wasn't very good at math. And so, I have no law enforcement background. I grew up in a military family. My father worked as a civilian for the U.S. Army, so I grew up actually in Japan on an Army base over there. So my freshman year in high school out here. And just through friends who had interest in law enforcement, I decided, hey, this is kind of interesting, and I signed up to be a reserve officer. And once I went on a few ride-alongs, I was like, oh, I was kind of hooked with this. And fortunately, I had parents that were very understanding that I wasn't going to business school, and do that route. And yeah, so that's why I became a police officer, just by chance, just by some friends and a couple of ride-alongs. And I think what you'll find, and hopefully we'll talk about it, is many police officers on one ride-along, or it's just something small that they decide to become a police officer. And so it's those types of opportunities that we hope we can do, especially for our community, to hire from young men and women from our community to be police officers and serve our city. So look forward to sharing that. But yeah, pretty simple. Couldn't do math, and here I am, 32 years later.
And what about becoming chief?
So I never had aspirations to be chief. I was just, excuse me, through the organization, and I promoted to captain in 2010, at the end of 2010, and I was a captain for about 8 years. And as I was explaining this is kind of backwards. I haven't met the officers yet. This is the first time, and I'm doing it in a public setting here on Facebook Live. So, I'm gonna, I'd love to. It's kind of backwards. I really want to meet the officers and speak with them first. But for me, Hawthorne is one of the last cities in our area that have promoted within our organization. And fortunate enough for us, we were able to develop within our organization leadership, mentoring, and being a captain for 8 years, and the chief that I replaced, we're friends, we were partners, and we were able to do that, and I had the opportunity to do that. And then the other captain, who I'm still good friends with, became the chief of Redondo Beach, and the opportunity presented itself in 2018, and that's why I did it. So really just organically, to be fortunate enough to be the chief of police.
All right, so police departments today, throughout the state, throughout the nation, there's challenges that they're facing. I wanted to maybe ask you, what you see as the challenges of a police department, and then specifically for Fountain Valley as well. I know putting you on the spot here, you don't know Fountain Valley per se, but what are some of the common challenges police departments face?
It was 2 slides ago, right? We talked about that. That's not just the Fountain Valley problem or issue in Hawthorne. This is and we'll talk about it hopefully at the town hall, but it really takes a sustained commitment. I mean, this is an over 10-year, 12-year, project that our city, our police department is part of, and continues to do so, and put a lot of resource into the situation with people experiencing homelessness, homeless shelter. So to have a shelter, not a shelter, the navigation center and all the things in process there really makes me, I take comfort in that, and also excited to be a part of that program. So that's obviously, one of the things that we'll be continuing. There's really no solution to this, right? Until, it's a constant issue, and well, again, we'll talk about it later. But really, the main issue that we're seeing within our law enforcement community is recruitment and retention. It really is, and I know that our officers here in Fountain Valley are working double time, extra time to keep our community safe. And it's important for us to create, one of the things I want to do coming here is to be able to work on creating a great culture where people want to stay here and committed to serving our community. And for example, in Hawthorne, in Hawthorne in LA County, there's 44 different police departments. And every police department is working to hire, and a lot of officers will go to different opportunities, closer to home, living closer to home. I'm living closer to home, you are home. To live, closer to where you work. And so how, as a chief of police, was I, one of the biggest challenges, and one of the things that we did is, how do I get somebody to drive 30, 40 miles a day, passing 10 different police departments that probably pay better, closer to home, to come work at Hawthorne? And that's about building internal culture, building a great place where people feel like they are valued for the organization, and that's what we focused on. Especially as a chief of police, culture and relationships are, and we'll talk about it with our department later, but those are two things that we continuously focused on. So recruitment and retention are actually two different things, recruitment and then retention, but really focus on retention is huge. Most cities spend about $250,000 to get an officer hired and trained. And to see that asset, to that value go to another city is really devastating for our community. So that we're going to place a high value on that. The first thing that came up to when I heard of Fountain Valley is a nice place to live. And it gives a smile, and I'll say this, as I go, but behind that simple message, and I know simple messages are hard, it takes a lot of effort and dedication from elected officials, from our community, from our officers, from our staff at City Hall to keep this place a nice place to live. So there's a lot of people working behind the scenes to make sure that the community is safe. Obviously, the police officers are out there at the forefront. So recruitment and retention. The other is wellness with our officers. There's a huge push for and attention for our officers and wellness, especially that the things that the officers have experienced in the last 3 or 4 years. Hawthorne is a very interesting city where it's about 6 square miles, 80 to 90, about 80,000 people living there. But what's interesting is about over half of the population lives in 1 square mile. And so as you can imagine, that creates its own challenges and things that go along with that. Home of the Beach Boys, by the way. Oh, sometimes when I talk to high school kids and I mention that, they're like, "Who? What? Who are the Beach Boys?" Now home of SpaceX. Who for how long? I'm not sure. I just heard they want to move to Texas, but so it's the city has its own challenges, and our officers, especially in the last several years, have gone through some very difficult times navigating all the things that have come up. So focusing on wellness, I know many chiefs have made that a priority, and I know talking to Chief Shepard and speaking with our staff, that's going to be a high priority in making sure officers can finish out a whole 30-year career in one place and leave happy and feel fulfilled. And so those are things that we want to make sure we work on. Lastly, it's about public safety. It's about so back to where I come from, in Hawthorne, we had a real issue, especially in the last few years, on repeat offenders. Right? So officers make an arrest, and then before they're done with the report, based on things, they're back on the road. Now that's LA County. I'm sure Orange County is a little different, I hope. But one of the stats that we had in our area is especially during the pandemic, we arrested the same 5 individuals over 100 times in 14 months, 105 times, right? They shouldn't be in jail, right? There's clearly other things that are going on, but the resources that it took for the police department, for our officers to be able to manage that, and to be able to address those types of issues, very difficult. At the worst moments, our local businesses were being treated like personal refrigerators. They just walk in, take stuff, and walk out, and nothing. We couldn't do anything. Our hands were tied. So those are things that are some of the challenges that we had to navigate, and we continue to do so. And I look forward to being part of this community, to work with our businesses, especially our small businesses. We really focused on our small businesses, and you'll hear me say this a lot. If I'm here, is we realize the small businesses, they put their entire lives on trying to get these businesses going, and it is up for us as a police department to do everything we can to make sure we help them out. It's devastating when we see small businesses not survive or have issues. So we're really focused on our businesses and folks that are managing that. So mental health, recruitment, retention, repeat offenders, these are things that are happening not only within our communities, probably within your community here too a little bit, but as a region. And lastly, again, I'll say this is, we're very fortunate to have, I'm looking forward to working in Orange County because the police departments here really work well together. They share the same radio system, a lot of partnerships with the cities, as you can see here, and it really is based on relationships and working well together. So those are some of the things that I think that's on my mind, that's on most police departments, most police chiefs, especially in this area, that we deal with on a daily basis.
Wow, thank you for that. That's quite a bit of information. I appreciate that. And one thing you'll find is with Fountain Valley Police, we have the most dedicated, and in our city, the most respected police officers around. So we're really proud of each and every one of them. You mentioned earlier you did a ride-along, when you first started. I actually did a ride-along with a police officer about, 4 or 5 months ago. For you, it made you want to be in the police department. For me, it made me realize there's no way I could do it. I'm not brave enough like these guys are. And where we went and into the evening and what they have to face, and you never know what's going to happen when they step outside. So again, all of our police officers, we appreciate you so much. So what are some of the best practices that you had as a police chief? And then what should the approach be of an interim police chief for the city of Fountain Valley?
It's like a job interview question there. Listen, if I have the opportunity to be the interim chief, I get it, it's temporary, but my attitude is, men and women here have dedicated their lives here many years. So I don't treat it as a vacation or a part-time gig or anything like that. I'm going to come in and really focus on our employees. One of the things that we were able to do in Hawthorne is, because we were just for many years just a traditional police department. We focused on crime fighting, but at some point we realized we have to do beyond that. We have to create value for ourselves within our community beyond just arresting people and fighting crime. And then how do we do that internally as a culture? So we really focused on empowerment, getting our officers to come up with great ideas, and really, as I look back now, with all the great ideas that came in creating value for our community came from our employees. It was employee driven, from officers to sergeants, lieutenants, and we were able to get them. Not one idea came from the chief or the captains, really. And one of those ideas that came out, and I'm sure you've heard, and I always get a chuckle, is coffee with a cop. So that started in Hawthorne in 2011. One McDonald's, we had a sergeant who had I got to give him credit, Chris Cognac, who actually had 11 episodes on the Food Network called The Hungry Detective. I don't know if you remember that one. Before his time. But anyways, he decided, him and his partner, we created we didn't have a community relations or community affairs bureau. We set one up. He was the first one. And they decided, we're going to go to McDonald's and just talk to people with a cup of coffee. So they went to McDonald's in 2011, talked to people. They sat down, and guess what? Nobody talked to her. Right? It wasn't because they didn't like police. We just realized there's so many barriers. The uniform, the way we sit, we're with all the cops are in the back right here, right? And we tend to huddle together. And there's just things that we just inherently do that does not, create an environment where just regular folks can come up and talk to our officers. So instead of just saying this doesn't work, he went and got a pot of coffee from the back and started pointing and introducing himself. And that grew from that location to, we got a grant from the COPS office, DOJ, in DC. And now it's in, I think it's, last I counted, it's in like 39 countries, 9 languages. And it's grown, and I'm sure you've done many of those in Fountain Valley also. So we're really proud of that. We run it as a nonprofit now. It says staff on there. It's really just 2 people, me and Chris, that run staff. But so that's one of the things that came from creating an environment and culture for the police department to innovate. And at the end of the day, what we want to do is create value. There's a huge investment that the community makes through council, through all the stakeholders, into providing public safety, to being safe, feeling safe. So we want to make sure that we maximize that value and do that. So creating an internal culture is everything. Yeah. So those are some of the things as an interim chief I want to definitely help support, and just by meeting the officers here for the first time, really, literally here, I can just, as you mentioned, they're great, dedicated to this community, and I look forward to working with them.
Excellent. So one thing that is positive you're walking into is we just came to labor agreements with all of our police officers and police management, and the working together and the appreciation for those groups and coming together and getting this done. That was really positive. You mentioned coffee with the cops, so I have to tell you, we kind of stole that idea at the city council level. We've had a couple of coffees with the mayor and Councilmember Constantine joined me for that on one of them, so we stole your idea. Just to let you know. There you go. So our community really does support and appreciate our police department. But what can a community, what can the residents do to help support police officers in the police department?
It's really the small things. As I look back now, because I retired and I'm coming back, and I have the benefit of hindsight now, really, right? I'm not going through it. I've been through it, and I'm able to look back. It's always the small things. It's always just saying hello, thank you for what you do. It's those little moments that really matter. It's great that everybody's here, but there's a whole community out there that are relying on our police officers to go do that. And again, I haven't even introduced myself formally to the police department, so I'll try to. I'm doing this backwards, but it really takes. There's only a handful of officers that have signed up to answer the 911 calls for our community. That's the way the system is set up. If something happens, you dial 911, and one of these. Our officers out there are going to show up and do everything they can to provide, safety, even putting themselves in harm's way. So what I've noticed is that in times of, when things are bad on the news or anything, when a community member comes to the police station with a box of donuts, I have a story we share. I won't do it here because I'm on Facebook Live here, but that we were saved by a box of donuts, right? When there were some terrible things going on. It's those little things that matter. So. Community support is everything that sustains the police department and to keep our officers to going out on a daily basis to do what they do. So really, if you see an officer out there, even though they seem busy or they might not, just saying thank you for what you do, appreciate what you do, that will carry that officer maybe throughout their career, right? So I remember things that happened in the 90s that later on, and I'll share that later, but were able to help us, or help me personally. So it's those little things that are going to matter. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but really the community support, that's why really I'm looking forward to coming to Fountain Valley. You know, Hawthorne is a very different community, diverse, but it's great community support. But one thing I've noticed coming here, even just here today, or just, you know, I have a lot of officers that live in Fountain Valley, believe it or not. So getting the understanding of what the community is like is really just makes me excited to be here to meet everybody here. So I know we have school board members here. We have a whole strategy on school and where our officers, you know, to be able to be mentors. I always said in Hawthorne, we wanted our officers to meet our young men and women, our school, especially high school kids, in a positive setting. That should be their first contact. It shouldn't be at a ticket. Mine was a ticket because I was driving too fast. But it was fine. But wouldn't it be great if our young adults or children meet officers in a positive setting for the first time? That's going to set the tone. So really, those are things that you know, once we get going, we'll be able to address. But yeah, so that's, hopefully that answers the question.
Oh, absolutely. And I have to give a shout out to our police department. Last night they had Tip-A-Cop over at the rec center where they raised money for the Special Olympics. We just truly, yeah, absolutely. Let's hear it from you. You guys are awesome. The whole department, we so appreciate all that you do for our community. And I know on Tuesday night we had the girls softball team showed up. They're going to nationals and they were doing a fundraiser. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but I'm the mayor, I can get away with stuff. The POA, as they were walking out, wrote a check for $500 for them so they could go. So again, that's the kind of police officers we have, and all of the men and women, they truly are just awesome. So, all right, anything else we should know?
That's it. Looking forward to, thank you again for inviting me, Mayor, and it was great to meet all the council members here, but I look forward to really speaking. I'll be here, so love to meet every one of you here. And for our officers there, I hope to be with you soon and be able to work with you guys. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I have to say, we really put him on the spot here. To bring him in before everything's official and all that. Hopefully everything moves forward, and I think you would be a great addition. Vice Mayor Bowie, did you have a question or comment you wanted to make?
Yeah, first of all...
Why don't you come on up, because they can't hear you at home.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, first of all, Chief Ishii, we want to welcome you to Fountain Valley, and we want to thank you for accepting the offer for the Chief Interim. I have a question for you. We want to know your thoughts on this one. As you know, there's Prop 47 reform that's coming up on this ballot in November, and I want to know how important is that to you, to the agency, law enforcement particularly, and as well as to particularly to the officers, because, you know, how is that affecting them to do their jobs, and just want to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So when it comes to, you know, legislation, different propositions, actually different counties, right? These are things that, as a police chief, you know, we work through all the way from the Police Chiefs Association for the state. Also, you have the Orange County Police Chiefs Association of the sheriff. And so, you know, as an interim police chief, I want to make sure that as part of that group, that we, as an organization, support that. Individually, you know, these are, you know, legislations come and go. It's my job as the chief to implement those and enforce those. But any tool that will help us provide the public safety, increase the safety for our community, you know, as a general rule, I support. But when it comes to legislation, you know, I want to make sure there's been good and bad. You know, I have personal views on that. But as representing, you know, our community as a police chief, make sure that we're part of the Orange County Police Association and also the Cal Chiefs Association. So, you know, I believe they support that, and I'm working on that. So.
Thank you for answering that question. Obviously, one of the driving force of the law enforcement, we're part of that movement to reform Bill 47 because there was a lot of that was tying their hands doing their jobs. So I'm glad to hear that you support that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All right, we have a couple of minutes left. I'm going to go off script just a little bit and talk about yesterday we did the next filming of the next podcast. Thank you, Chief. Where we interviewed our fire chief, Bill McQuaid. So, yes, let's hear it for Chief. So look for that coming out, and we do a whole series of podcasts throughout the year, and we like to call it infotainment because it's part information, part entertainment. We have community leaders, and then we also have our city leaders that we interview on a monthly basis. And one of the things that you're going to hear about is the new fire station. So I'm going to just give you some information because we have confirmation it's public record and we can talk about this now. But I attended a roundtable, a mayor's roundtable, and that was back in, I think it was the March time frame. And while we were there, we got to hear about different earmarks that were going to all the different cities. And when we went around, they came to me and said, what is it that Fountain Valley needs? And I was thinking, cybersecurity, that's my background, that would be good. If we could get, a couple $100,000 for that, that would be awesome. And then I thought about it, I was like, no, we're gonna shoot for the moon. And what I asked for was a new fire station for the city of Fountain Valley. And I got some eyes wide open, like, wow, that's a big ask. That's I'm Jewish. That's chutzpah, That's you got something that's something to ask for. So what we did, we came back to the city, and I found out from the fire chief that he was going to Washington D.C. To ask for support on a grant for equipment, unrelated to an earmark. It was a grant and wanted support, and he was there for a chiefs conference. Anyway, so he booked that appointment, and coincidentally, I was going to be in D.C. anyway. So I asked the chief, I said, do you mind if I come join you? Let's go meet our congresswoman together. And let's talk more about the fire station. Let's dream big, let's ask big. So we went back to staff and to our grant writers, and they put together this beautiful proposal because we didn't want to go in there and just ask for it. We wanted a really nice proposal. And we did, and we were told, don't ask for more than $2 million. If you ask for $2 million, they're just going to say no. So we put our heads together and said, that's just not brave enough. Let's ask for more. So what we did is we asked for $20 million for the fire station. But what we did to give them an out, or just not a flat no, is we said we're going to phase it. So phase one, we need $5 million for phase one. Can't hurt to ask, right? What's the worst thing they can do is say no. It is now been approved by appropriations. We're waiting for the final budget to be approved, and we all know about DC and how budgets get approved, especially in election year. But once it is, we're being told it's a 98% chance we're going to get that $5 million as phase one for the fire station. So really excited about that. And then next year, we can ask for phase two and another $5 million. So anyway, that's look for that podcast. We talk about that plus all information, everything you wanted to know about the fire department. It's informational, and I have to admit, I feel like I know the fire department really well. I learned a lot just sitting there listening to all you had to say, so appreciate you taking the time for that. We're almost at the top of the hour. We have time maybe for one or two questions. If anybody has a question, or if they had an announcement of an upcoming event they wanted to make. Brian?
Can you mention pins for kids?
Come on up, Brian. No, come on up, because I don't have the date off the top of my head.
You're the oldest member of the club, so.
I'm going to be 60. I'm not that old. Longest standing.
He was 5.
Good morning, everybody. Just want to mention our Pins for Kids annual bowling tournament's coming up August the 17th over at Fountain Bowl. And we do that conjunction, Fountain Valley Kiwanis does that in conjunction with the Boys and Girls Club of Fountain Valley, or Plains of the Valley, sorry. So it's in the evening, it starts at 5:30. If you go on to the Boys and Girls Club and do /pins, you can get all the information on the tournament. You can come out and just have dinner with us and do the auction. It's a lot of fun. Blake can attest to it. He's the only city council member and mayor of Fountain Valley who has attended Fountain Valley High School and a member of the Key Club of the high school. So come on out and support us. We're doing our meeting today, actually, for our Kiwanis Club over at Coastline College at noon. So if you want to come by, we're going to have one of the Kiwanis clubs is going to join us today and come get to see them and have some pizza with us. And that's it. Thank you.
Introduce yourself. Who are you?
Brian Genovese. I am the president of Fountain Valley Kiwanis. So nice to meet you guys. Good morning and have a great day.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. All right. Well, I think we're just about right on time. One last thing. So this last week, we lost a member of the Fountain Valley family. We lost a former city manager, Bob Hall, who passed away. And at the last council meeting, we honored him with a proclamation, and we closed the meeting in his honor. He truly, truly was a great guy who cared about our community. There was a saying, I think he said something about, do the right thing when people aren't looking. That's the kind of person that he was, and we're really, really going to miss him. So, in honor of Bob Hall, I'm going to close out this meeting in memoriam of Bob Hall. So, with that, that's this quarter's mayor's breakfast. I appreciate everybody coming out. This, again, what a great turnout, and we'll see you at the next event. So, thank you all for being here.